need some competition out here. Come on.
The other they have to do that. Our people don't.
Well, my name is Necey X. I'm a female artist. I'm also an actor. We just did a movie called Get Lost.
Okay.
With Justina Valentina and I'm in there. But anyhow, I'm an artist, a female artist. And right now I have an active lawsuit against Atlantic Records, 1501 Entertainment, 300. I had to sue them all because they all work together, all really up under one umbrella. Mm-hmm. So my lawsuit is against Megan Thee Stallion for the thought shit and the WAP. So Cardi B's involved in a lawsuit as well because she's also an artist on the song. But the main thing is directed towards Partisan Fonte, which is their designated songwriter. So I want to bring awareness for a couple different reasons to protect other artists that probably was in a position as me, but didn't have their license and their paperwork together, that couldn't take it as far as I was able to take it. And just for safety reasons as well, the public need to be aware of this.
Right.
So take us back to the beginning. Obviously, you're an artist. Take us back to that and the first time you started to, understand or know that your image or your lyrics were being copied or emulated by someone else.
Okay, well, and I'm gonna give you a quick storyline. In 2017, I opened up an independent living company with Partisan's father. He was my ex-business partner. So when you hear Megan say she want to go to school and graduate and open up that business, that's in reference. But so I had a business with Partisan's father, and something went wrong with the contractor where he didn't make up on his end of the bargain, and we ended up in court, and the judge ruled on my favor. This was in 2017. So after that, I could have continued the business, but I decided to part ways and finish college so that I could, continue on what I was doing. So I graduated college that very next month, and then I got into the rapping. I got into the music. Well, right before I got into the music, there was some police brutality that took place in Pennsylvania. There was Mark Daniels, they got murdered, and Antoine Rose. You might have heard of Antoine Rose. I know that got a lot of nationwide publicity. He was a young guy that got arrested. So I'm like one of the frontline leaders in activism in the city of Pittsburgh. So when it happened, I called in a rally. Fast forward, I end up in jail. They threw me in jail. So they threw me in jail, false accusations for armed robbery. And I beat it. It's all clear and all that. But it was rough. So I went through that process. But as soon as I got out, once I was in there, I was able to find out that the people on the inside, they were waiting to get out. The only way they couldn't get out is if they had residents. So I'm like, wow, I got this program. When I get out, I'm gonna come and get y'all. And I did. So I got out, went back to the prison and got some women out and put them into the program. So once his father realized how much money I was making for the company, he started talking about trying to negotiate the contract. And the contract wasn't up for negotiation for a couple years. Let's fast forward that.
Okay.
We leave the business. I go on about my business. I start into my music. Now, December 2018, I made an album. And it was dedicated to, that's why I gave you that backstory. Right, it's important because that's what my album was about. It was about being in prison, falsely accused. So I made a song called Religion. And some of it was infringed upon. And then I had a song called Fuck the Police. But I never released the Fuck the Police because I just performed it a lot. I didn't release the Fuck the Police because I wanted to make it more directed towards bad police. I didn't want all the police to think that it was for them. Right. So I wanted to I wasn't ready to release that. But I performed it everywhere. That was a remix of the NWA beat. So I had those two songs out. And then I noticed right then and there. So Megan came out. She came out around the same time. So when I came out, before I released my album, I already had my paperwork. I had my BMI and had my ASCAP. I had already went through a couple little seminars that taught me about paperwork. I didn't know nothing about paperwork when I first got in.
Mm-hmm.
So once I learned that you had to have your paperwork right, people steal your stuff, I did that immediately. So December 2019, I came out with this album. I went to Whammo, my radio station, #1 for hip hop, the biggest radio station in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I went down there and I told him, hey, I'm about to do this movement. Trump was about to go back in. He was about to run, going for the second term. And I'm like, I'm going to bring it all out at one time. I'm going to do my religion. It's about police brutality. And it's basically politics and hood music in one. Mm-hmm. And my music is hardcore, but I got, I look like a singer. Everybody think before I start rapping. So it was like real orthodox and everybody was just gravitating to it. So I noticed a lot of female rappers start coming out at the same time. So I'm like, okay, I don't pay attention to what everybody else is doing. But then I heard her make a song called Savage. Mm. So when I heard Savage, I'm like, it's like a nomophone. When I write my own music. So when you write something and you hear something that come out that kind of reminds you of you like, oh, that she's hardcore, pretty girl coming out with this. I'm like, okay, so it caught my attention, of course. But because of my song Religion, I'd be like, why she's so savage, bitch? They had me gated in Northview. Yeah, that hood that you scared wouldn't dare to pull through to. So there was like a main line because I'm shouting out my neighborhood in that line. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, it wouldn't have been enough to do no infringement. I wasn't really, it just caught my attention.
Right.
Then she came out with the Boys in the Hood remix. Now it really caught my attention because, like I told you, I did the Fuck the Police, and it was a remix to the NWA. You know that and Rolling Down the Street in My 6'4" is the remix to that. So of course it caught my attention because I just, I'm performing this song all over the place, and I hear her on the radio. I still didn't say anything. I'm still just because I'm not sure. When it first happened to you, you don't know that it's happening to you. Mm-hmm. You don't know that it's happening. You don't think that somebody at that time you thinking they're on this level. This is before I got into the movies, before my movie got released. So I'm thinking, they're not copying off of me. This is before I even realized that Partisan is the writer. So then she come out with this one song. I don't want to go through all of it because I'm giving like all of the evidence. So let's fast forward to the important stuff.
Okay.
When Thought Shit came out. Well, no, when WAP came out, it got my attention because my song Grab 'Em by the Pussy, that was my biggest song because it's Trump. It's Trump's work. Grab that bitch by the pussy, and I got the Trump sign. You can hear Hitler's voice in the background. I mean, it goes crazy. But I just wanted to put history. It's my way, my expression of putting history into my music and based on my real life events, my life. So I see WAP, they're like, WAP, it's some wet ass pussy. Now my song Grab 'Em by the Pussy, it'd be like, they picked it apart because they picked it apart. They didn't just steal my song. They took a piece from this song. It's like a copy and paste method. So they be like, it's the wet ass pussy. And then my song Grab 'Em by the Pussy, it'd be like, pussy so wet, got that nigga wildin'. Pussy so wet, got that nigga wildin'. And then in the Thought Shit song, in that one line, they put it in 2 songs. So they got the WAP, wet ass pussy, and then they got Partisan and Megan's song saying, why you in the club with niggas wildin'? So of course it's going to catch my attention. Mm-hmm. And then there was more lines. There was 14 lines in that song that belonged to me. So there was that no missionary nigga hit it doggy style. So she like missionary or doggy style on my top shit. Pussy ass nigga still hating from this shit. Sorry, I'm laughing. It's just so funny to me. Right. But I just went through. So once I noticed, like, okay, more. Let me get a little bit more. Mm-hmm. They dressed up like they wordplay with my name. So with WAP, they got like from Baps. Y'all know the movie Baps, right? Yeah. Okay. You know how Halle Berry played Necey?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Damn.
Exactly. So they got Cardi B dressed up. And now if I would explain this to the average person before I had all this evidence, they would think I was crazy, right? Mm-hmm. Like, man, it just can't be. I still thought like I might be tripping, you know. But I'm looking at the video, and anytime I perform my song, I brought that, and this was been for years. I got all of the evidence, all the pictures. I would wear long braid, the long blonde braid. First it was blue, but then people start wearing that, so I went to blonde. And I noticed that they had the hairstyles and everything, but it was like, it was exaggerated. You know, they got money. These are millionaires, you know, they got millions to put into it. So it's exaggerated, but I noticed so many different things about me. And like, she got snakes around her neck. And this is my image, remind you, this is the image that I'm pushing. The whole world don't see it yet because I only been in 13 states. I haven't really got there for everybody to see. Right. But it doesn't make it okay to go and steal all of my content and create your own. So when they came out with Thought Shit, so when they came out with WAP, I kind of let it go. I really didn't let it go. Now I'm on it. Like, okay, that's my shit. Because if you look at the song, what it's all about, it's just right in correspond with my Grab 'em by the pussy. Of course, it's a different beat and it's mixed up. So then when they came out with the Thought Shit, that was it, because they stole the video and the lyrics. Damn. So they got the video and the lyrics. They just mixed it up a little bit. Because Grab 'em by the Pussy is a song like got Trump in it. And it brings out the story of Marilyn Monroe, Monica Lewinsky, Kim Kardashian, like women that were sexualized in politics, but had a major role in change, no matter if it was good or bad. You know what I mean? Right. And I wanted to shine that light. And there's a part where I'm like, the only way is if you get up in the fucking system. So that's why she had all the women like dressed up like the garbage truck person, the nurse. Like she had them in the system, basically. You know, the only way is if we get up in the fucking system. Fuck the DA, fuck the judge, fuck the prison, fuck the police. I'll make them pull out his pistol. But it's provocative. I'm not saying it like fuck them, fuck them, fuck them. You know, excuse my language, but I'm saying it. My music is in a provocative manner, so it's erotic. You know, it's sexy, but it's also it was fabricated in a way that you have to be an adult and understand politics to even get what I'm saying. It was subliminal. They just came out and mutilated and disrespected the honor of my whole reputation by the way that they put it in their form. You know, and so once I did that, I said, okay, let me see. How is these people connected to me? Now, there was already, remind you, I was on the scene. I was going down Charlotte. I was at the baby studio. That's a whole nother story. They stole some of my stuff too. But I really got to look back and look around. And I seen that they all were stealing my stuff. It was like they were picking me apart. And I'm like, wow, the only way, you know, this is deep. This is deep. And I had enough evidence and everybody knew that I've been had that going on. I was performing all over the place. So it wasn't that hard for the public to see the resemblance and to see what was going on. But it just opened up a can of worms because I was able to see that they're all stealing people's lyrics. That's what they're doing. Mm. It's like a thing.
So, first off, what states are you playing in? Do you know exactly what state you're playing in?
I'm on all streaming platforms, first of all, so all 50 states can get it. Okay. But I have literally performed in 50 states. Like I performed in Atlanta, performed in LA, I performed in Vegas, I performed in Pittsburgh, I went up, you know, New York. I got a long reach. I got a long reach.
Gotcha.
Randy. All right. So your lawsuit. You said you won a lawsuit in 2017-18?
Yeah.
What was that one about? You don't have to tell us the amount you won. What was that lawsuit about?
It was basically his father, against his father. He was my business owner, and he was trying to shut down the business because the house was his, but the company itself was mine. Like the license, everything, the whole company, I went to school for it. I went and got all the registrations and certifications to open up the independent living company. So he had a like a facilitated partner to where he provide the housing and I pay him rent, and I can, whatever I'm doing with my company and whatever I'm getting paid with my company, that's separate, as long as I pay him his rent. But once he realized that I was getting paid through the insurance company, and it was every 15 minutes there was money coming in. You get paid every 15 minutes per service. And once he realized how big the company was, he got upset, and he started trying to like throw his energy around. Like throw his energy around in my company, go in the company when I wasn't there, have the women feeling like they were getting scared. It's just energy. He was coming in, just going into the company when he wasn't supposed to with his key. And he really wasn't supposed to have a key. Like I said, I pay you rent to have this place. So he wanted to he wanted to shut it down. And we went to court and found out the house wasn't even really in his name. And some whole other stuff. But I ended up winning. And I could have literally just walked away with the house. But I decided to just depart because I don't like confrontation. I don't like, it's my company. I'm the business. I'm St. Jones. So I could take that anywhere.
Right. Let's talk about the new lawsuit with you against Atlantic, 1501. I believe you said Cardi B and another name.
300.
300. Yep. Don't get into particulars, but when did you start that lawsuit? When did you say enough was enough and we'll start this lawsuit? And how far have you gotten thus far?
Well, in July it started when I, realized, I set my mind saying, I know they're stealing my music. I'm going along with it. And then they start like sending me subliminal messages, start trying to incite fear and stuff like that. So then I really was like, whoa, okay, so this is what it is.
Like what do you mean?
DMs subliminal messages like red light, green light, like they're gonna red light and green light somebody. You know what I'm saying? When I'm really from the streets, for real. So there's a lot of artists that they rap about being in the streets and rap about it, but you're just rapping about somebody else's life. I'm rapping about my life. I'm writing my own music. You're not from where I'm from. You can't go where I could go. So I just thank God that I was cut in the right places, and I trust God, and I just said, okay. And when I called the lawyers, they jumped right on it. To make it so ironic, I had an attorney, and I'm not going to get too deep into his name and stuff.
Right.
There was an attorney that called himself taking the case. I don't know if they sent them to me or what, but he wasn't even a real attorney. Like, he was an attorney, but he wasn't reinstated. I have the paperwork.
Oh, man.
I got the paperwork when he was reinstated because I kept asking him to, first I was trying to just approach them to send, when somebody infringe, the first thing you want to do is approach them and say, hey, you're infringing, take it down. You want to approach them.
Right.
And I did that online. I did it right on public for everybody to see because everybody kept telling me, they stealing mine too, they stealing mine too. And all these artists that saying that people stealing their stuff, they don't have paperwork. They don't have paperwork. They don't have BMI. They don't have ASCAP. They don't have DistroKid. They don't know nothing about performance rights. They don't know that there's 2 or 3 different checks that you get every 4 months. They don't know nothing about the business. And I feel bad for people like that because I'm one of the artists that do. So it's like it was brought to me for a reason. So I have to fall through. I mean, they stole from me.
Where's your case at now? You getting any movement with it?
Oh, right now, this position that it's in, so they just filed it December the 22nd because I had to get the copyright certificates back. My paperwork, my work was already copyrighted through BMI and all of that, but you have to have that certificate in your hand in order to get into the federal courts.
Gotcha.
So if you really notice, there's a big wave of copyright infringement cases that's coming in right now. There's a lot of infringement. I'm sure you'll see it. There's so many copyright infringements cases that is taken off because me stepping out made other people feel comfortable to step out because it's a scary situation when you know that there's a big machine. Because I don't know, it was more than just them stealing from me. Like they were sending A&Rs to me, and the A&R's position is to find talent and bring them to the table. But they figured out a way to just steal the content and sell it to the record label and just cross you out. And if I wasn't so known the way I am, they would have washed me right out the water. It would have been like whatever, especially if I didn't have the knowledge that I had to even pull that off. It took time and patience while they were still taunting me trying to get me upset in the process. So I had to just keep my eyes directly on the case. Like, Denise, just focus. Anyhow, I had to go into the copyright office and make sure I get the copyrights in my hand before I could file when it came time to file. So October 31st, our movie, Get Lost.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my charger? Yes, he get my charger, babe. Sorry, I had my phone on that.
You good.
But in December the 31st, my movie was released. It was called, because I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a CEO, and that's what I believe in. That's just the way it is. But when you're not doing what you're supposed to do, then you jump over their head and go to the next step. And I read the paperwork on pro se, filing the pro se court. Filing the pro se paperwork, I read everything piece by piece, and I filed my paperwork. And it actually got filed February 22nd, 2 days before my birthday.
Okay.
Happy belated.